GNHWPCA board meeting to order. Debbie, would you read the roll call, please?
Joyce Sultan, Salvatore Topola,
Present.
Robert Felsigno. Robert Felsigno,
He's muted, Ernie. He muted himself. That's him right there. Oh, no, he's there. He's there.
Raymond Pompano,
Present.
Stephen Mongillo,
Present.
Russell Sear,
Here.
Jeffrey Ginsburg,
Here.
Clayton Williams,
Here.
Michael Finiani.
Here.
Thanks, Debbie.
You're welcome.
Item 1 on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the August 11th regular meeting. It was a short meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. As I mentioned, we had a very short meeting. There wasn't too much to the minutes. Does anyone have any comments or corrections? Or any omissions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Minutes. Item 2 is public participation. Do we have anyone from the public on the line?
No, we do not.
Okay. We'll move on to item 3. Clay.
Resolved that the resolution approved by the board on July 14, 2020, authorizing the executive director, Sidney J. Holbrook, to negotiate and execute an agreement to the lowest responsible bidder for CIPP lining installation services for Olive Street in New Haven, in an amount not to exceed $950,000, as further described in the exhibit to agenda item number 3, is hereby amended to provide for a total cost decrease of $279,421 from $950,000 to $670,579. And the executive director, Sidney J. Holbrook, be and hereby is authorized, empowered, and directed for and on behalf of the authority to negotiate, execute, and deliver an agreement with In Situ Form Technologies, LLC, for CIPP lining services for Olive Street in New Haven and the Farview Forest Main area in East Haven, as further described in the exhibit to agenda item number 3, in an amount not to exceed $670,579, and any and all reasonable and necessary documents in furtherance thereof. Boy, talk about a run-on sentence.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Do I have a motion?
I'll move that.
Moved.
Mike? Oh, Joyce is here. Joyce seconds it. Thank you, Joyce. Is this Tommy?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, this is the Olive Street project. I brought this to you in July for pre-approval, which was a little unusual because at that time I thought we weren't going to have an August meeting, but we ultimately did. We had estimate with contingency of $950,000. We had one of the best bids since I've been here as far as most competitive, and we had 7 bidders. It's attached in your board package. We had all really reputable contractors bidding. In situ form, which has become quite common lately, was a low bidder at $484,000 and change. The next 4 bidders were within $20,000 of each other, roughly about $80,000 or $90,000 above situ form. So we were really happy with the bids. Obviously, they were lower than what we expected, combined with some contingency built into our estimate. The reason I'm bringing it back to you, it's kind of unusual to ask for a reduction, but we wanted to change the scope a little bit since we had some money in here. We have an area that I'm going to screen share. Hopefully it'll work. Share. You guys see that?
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna, let's see, annotate. Okay, we wanted to add some pipe on this project to Olive Street in East Haven. As you can see, this is the beach in the beach club in East Haven. This is our far view force main. Can everyone see them where I'm highlighting or pointing?
Yeah.
This is the far view force main. Last week, we just completed replacing half of this pipe. The first half we did last year, and then the second half we just completed this past week. So this whole force main is renewed now. This piece of pipe here, this 24-inch that's in blue, that's the part we're going to add to this contract, with the exception of the part that goes into the wetland, because we're going to have to get permitting for that. We're going to leave that to the next phase, if you will. So we're going to do this piece here. It's experiencing hydrogen sulfide corrosion, even though it's built in 1980, 40 years old. That's not that old considering compared to a lot of other pipes in our service area, but this one's in poor condition. So we're going to line that as part of the Olive Street. I asked for an additional $125,000 be added to this contract as a change order. So that brings, with contingency, the total not to exceed the 670,000. So that's where you get the net reduction from 950 to the 670. Any questions?
Tom, I'm just asking the obvious question. Why was the estimate so far off on this one?
Well, I think what happens is we get, I don't know, when we, a lot of the part of the guessing game is bypass pumping. And some of in Olive Street, there's businesses down there, and it's difficult for us to estimate that type. So we kind of fluff it up a little bit. And that one, I think we added too much to our estimate. And then we put a contingency on there, and then you have police officers and all that stuff. It was a combination of that and in situ form coming in very low. I mean, so it was a combination of things. So we're happy about it. I was talking to Ricardo in our office. I says, we're going to need to refine our estimates a little bit better, because the board's not going to believe us anymore.
Well, we're usually pretty close, so.
Yeah, believe me, I was shocked it was that low. I thought it was, 600 was probably going to be the number, but.
We're not complaining.
No.
Better,
This is relatively, standard work too. This is just routine kind of
Yeah,
thing.
well, we've become routine. We're good at it. We make the contractors just do lining work. We don't make them dig. We don't make them hire subs, and they love working here because they can just do what they're really good at. And I think that's why we get real competitive pricing. If we have to do like we did a couple point repairs a couple weeks ago in Olive Street with our emergency contract, so that's all ready to go. So a lot of other municipalities would get a contractor bogged down of hiring a sub to do those point repairs in the contract, and that just adds cost, adds markups and things like that. So we've gotten pretty efficient at this.
Hey, Tom, the part of Olive Street near Worcester Street where they're building those there are two big apartment complexes going up there. One is in the old Comcast site,
Right.
and one is right next door to it. Did we have to do any infrastructure changes to accommodate those new apartments?
No, but part of us discovering the condition of the pipe, and actually we thought that was one type of pipe, clay pipe, and as it turns out, it was asbestos, or it was unreinforced concrete of an older era. That jumped that street up on our priority list. So that development going in, it wasn't the development per se, but when we started inspecting pipe and we saw this large development coming in, and then we discovered that this was not clay pipe, it was unreinforced concrete, we said we needed to reprioritize. So we don't have anything specific. We're not absorbing any cost specifically to that project itself, but we are ensuring that our infrastructure is in good shape so that it can accept it. And not just that, just everyone, all the other ones, all the other people that are connected to it.
And my other question is on the East Haven project that Burns is working on here that you have up on this map. Are they going to do a proper road repair there? I see that the patch across to the road is rather nasty.
Right. Yeah, of course. Yeah, the DOT has got, we have a permit with DOT on that road, and there'll be a mill and a proper overlay of that portion to bring it back to its original state.
And then the same thing, there's that piece of residential property on the north side that was impacted. I'm sure that
Yep.
they're not happy, but that'll be taken care of also.
No, they've been very cooperative. We were way out in front of that. We sat with them. We went over the property. The Tenarios have been great to work with. Our contractor really accommodated them in working with them. We thought we were going to have a temporary parking area for them, and they worked around that. They're going to get the driveway is going to be restored, and we have an allowance for doing some landscape restoration. So overall, they're very happy.
Good. That's all.
Any other questions for Tom? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. We're on to item 4, which is the executive summary, Sid.
That was fast, huh?
Yeah.
I really don't have much for you. Everybody here is healthy, but we have extended our opening period until November the 1st. It seems people can get in here by appointment to meet with our engineering staff, but as far as customers and people that were coming in and need, want to pay their bills, there's other locations they can go to, or they can pay remotely. So there's really no need for them to come in here. Now and then we get a few people that still come here, and we advise them as to where they can go and pay their bills. And it's working out, as far as I'm concerned, in our best interest and the public's best interest by keeping us all apart. The Save the Sound, who had FOI'd us, are still looking for further information that we're providing to them, and the dialogue continues, as I will say. For those of you that had an opportunity to look at your book and to go to the back of it, you'll see that we've just got an upgrade from Fitch. As you know, we got an upgrade about a year ago, right, Gabe?
Yeah.
From Standard & Poor's, and now we've been our credit rating's been upgraded to AA by Fitch, and which is, very nice, especially in light of the fact that other entities within the community don't share that. But I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying that to show you what kind of operation that we have here with the staff we have and with the board of directors and all of us that are working to create an entity that is in the best, serves the community the best. I think one of the things that really drove this is that if you read the whole thing, that we, and time after time this comes into play, that we bill on real usage, and the real usage being last year's versus estimated or anticipated usage. And I think of the years when I was in the legislature and how they operate, where they approve what they call anticipated revenues, and that's how they establish the budget. Well, those revenues never work out to what they anticipate, and that gets us in trouble as a governmental entity. But we don't have that. We know what we've used, and we're going to run our budget based on that. And just the management in general and our people in finance do just an outstanding job. The legislature is talking about the legislature. They're going back in. There is one piece of legislation that may have an effect on us. As of right now, it doesn't. But we will be monitoring that. And that's basically what I have at this point. I mean, it's been a very quick month, and we did have another storm. Since the last time we met, we got through that fine, and things are going along right now fairly well. As you probably saw, or some of you saw, There was an article in the New Haven Register on Sunday that dealt with the billions of dollars that are necessary to upgrade all of the CSO, combined sewer outlets in the state. They focused, there are only 4 CSO communities. Of course, it's New Haven, Hartford, Norwich, and Bridgeport. So as you can see, I was pretty happy to see that we have we've had the most number of closures of all of the percentage-wise of all the 4 that were mentioned. So it was more of a statistical kind of an article, and it was fine. They did call here, but since the questions were basically statistical and more of in keeping with our operations, Gary was on vacation. We told her she could call back next week because he has all that data. And rather than saying we can get that for you, she was in a rush to get the article out. She called like 2 days before the weekend. So there was no way to accommodate her to the degree she wished to have the information presented. So that's what I got. Anybody have any questions or comments?
Sid, I read that article. It was pretty straightforward with data, so
Yeah,
there's really nothing. I mean, we only look good by the numbers there.
right,
We were the lowest with 11 CSOs left.
right.
And congratulations to the whole staff on the bond rating increase. I mean, that the rating, that just again indicates, you know, the work that we do on a daily basis to make the organization better and better.
They did point out in their papers that there's been a lot of capital improvements and capital improvements planned, and that actually creates more assets for us and helps kick the rating up too. And that shows that we're doing something. We're not just sitting on our cash.
Yeah, they're also anticipating some impact from the COVID-19, which, you know, may not happen in our case either. So,
Well, we've seen a slight decrease in the collections. That is in part due to our ability or our requirement that we reduce our interest on late charges. So
sure.
that's going to have an impact. And fortunately, there's other areas where we increased our income. So it hasn't been that detrimental to the authority. You want to add to that, Gabe?
I think the other thing is that we still have not moved, even though the interest rate that expired, the reduction in interest rate, but we also have not started any foreclosure processes since this has started on any owner-occupied properties. If it's a investor-held property, we're still sending them to collections, but we're holding off on the owner-occupied properties until the virus is back to having back to normal.
I think if we ever run into any trouble, we could always sell naming rights to the plant.
That's a great idea, Clayton. Put a big Dunkin' Donuts cup on the top.
Come and get a cup of sludge, you know?
I mean, get a cup of sludge. Oh, Jesus.
Anyway,
Yeah.
that is an excellent job on like staff with that ratings. Excellent job.
And
It
this
shows we're
was
doing a great job.
this was a hard fought increase. I got to tell you, we didn't ask for this. We got randomly selected. Every so often they randomly select entities for an in-depth review, and we happened to be selected. This started in March, and because they're working from home as well. This was really actually more entailed and more in-depth than the one we had from S&P that we paid for to get our refunding done. But they did a great job, and so we're very happy with the outcome.
I think what's happened partly driven by the fact that there's not a lot of good stories out there with this COVID situation, and there's a lot of municipal entities and governmental entities that unfortunately have fallen onto hard times. with the need to put out money and not having it come in. And I think they can look at a sewer authority and say, well, there's no real buy there. There's no real need for capital outlay except for construction. And the money continues to come in. So we were a perfect candidate. If I was running the rating agency, I would have called us too.
Well, I think, Sid, a lot of other organizations may be overrated as well, so I wouldn't sell yourself short on this.
No, I'm not. I'm saying that, you know, if I were looking for some entity that was possibly in line for an upgrade, I would go looking at sewer authorities,
Mm-hmm.
and particularly ours, because we've managed it well in the past, but knock on wood here. I never know.
Very good. Any other questions for Sid? Comments? Thanks, Sid. Item 5 is consideration of new business. Gabe?
Yes, we have a new business item. It's a transfer. It's really from capital projects that were closed out or inactive, and we're moving them into emergency sewer repair. So it's more or less just an accounting transaction so that we can move them from the closed accounts and we can close out these line items. We put them into emergency sewer where the money will sit and use for emergency sewers, which we're going to need more money to finish up that Whitney Avenue project before we're done. So we'll have that conversation pretty much as that project completes the part where the collapse occurred, and as we move further up into the other part of that line, we'll have a continuous discussion and in regards to what's next and monies that will be spent on that. So this is really just a new business item related to some accounting cleanup and some transfers. Glenn, do you want to read the resolve? Or make a motion?
Well, Glenn's got to read the resolution first.
I can read it, okay? Consideration of approval of certain departmental budget transfer requests. Resolve that the department budget transfer requests as described in exhibit agenda item 5 are hereby approved.
Okay, do I have a motion? Mike, thank you. Second?
Second.
Joyce, thank you.
Okay,
How much
because
are the transfers, Gabe?
I'm gonna read them off for you, Clay, because you don't have them. So the first one is $16,022. That's coming from the East Shore brick collectors to be transferred into emergency sewer repair. The second one is $200,000. That's from the Morris Cove odor control, and that's also being sent into emergency sewer repair. The third one is $149,489, and that's from repairs in the commuter room at the plant, and that's also being moved to the emergency sewer repair for a total of $365,502. From those 3 different line items, all moved into emergency sewer repair.
Thank you. Are there any other questions of Gabe? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 6 is a call to the public. Do we have anybody?
No?
No.
And we're on to item 7, which I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
Clayton, second.
Who was first?
I
Right.
think Ray, I think
Ray
Ray
did.
was first and I was second, right?
All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a nice
Thank
evening,
you.
everybody.
Stay safe.
Two.
Jeez, I should have mentioned.